Welcome one, welcome all to the Red Pill, brought to you by DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and with me as always is my brother Jay, another mother. How's it going, brother?
Going good, man. Ready to get into some fun stuff. I need to change my camera around. How's the audio coming in? Good?
Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like we got to make sure we can hear Jeff right, because once David shows up and Drew drops in, and if we get happen to get Colin in here, I don't think he's going to show up tonight. He had to go to the dentist, but he said his jaw's all swole up, so I don't think he's going to be here. But things can get kind of heated in here. So
tell me he needs to quit that jabber jawing, man. Doing that side hustle.
He like been jacking jaw too much.
Yeah.
Giving blowjobs or something.
Throat goat. Oh man.
I got my Guinness going tonight.
Oh man, you got to do the car bombs, man.
Oh, dude, Irish car bombs. I love Irish car bombs, dude.
It's so good.
I fucking love Irish car bombs. Like what do you usually use for your Irish car bombs?
I've only gotten it from the bar, and whatever, like Irish cream, Bailey's Irish cream or something like that. Whatever
okay. No, yeah. like Irish car bombs that I've usually done is you do a little bit of Bailey's, but the rest of it you do Glenfiddich. You do put like a shot of Glenfiddich.
Oh shit! Okay,
a little bit of Bailey's, drop that in there, and then freaking pound the beer. Oh, dude, it tastes like a root beer float.
Oh shit!
Will fuck you up. So
damn. So I just did it with the Bailey's. Damn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I'm sure David, he's finishing up his live stream, and Drew said he's going to be a little bit late. So we'll go ahead. I kind of want to hold off on introducing the topic until they get here, because I want to make sure that they understand what the topic is. But what we're going to be talking about tonight is going to be social media, and it's not just social media. Like, this has been going on for decades. I mean, your parents, their parents. It's for the most part, the media, before there was social media, the regular media was a total psyop. I mean, it was, whatever they were told to say by the powers that be, like, what is it? Freaking Anchorman. They joke about it, where Ron Burgundy, he'll say anything that's on the teleprompter.
Oh, yeah.
They joke about it in that movie, where it's like, you know that he'll say whatever you put on the teleprompter. That's for the most part the way that legacy media is whatever was on the teleprompter, they would say it like it was their own thoughts, and everyone out there just assumed that it was the truth, and that evolved. So after regular media came social media, and they had to figure out how to use social media to control the masses as well. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So first off, shout out to our chat. We got Jay, and first off, yes, it's the Jews. It's always the Jews and the Flappy Birds and the Flappy Birds. The Flappy Birds on Jeff's head. Yes, we all love Jeff's. That's Jeff's party hat.
My party hat, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share some stuff. They're just going to have to catch up when they get here. So, right out the gate, I'm going to start with this one. So this gentleman here, I forget his name. I need to look it up, and maybe when everybody else gets here, I'll look it up. But any videos or any information that you can find on this guy, this guy is my idol when it comes to understanding the the psyops that are going on from the powers that be, when it comes to reading people just day to day, understanding human psychology. This is the type of thing that I nerd out on, because you can avoid so much in life, in personal relationships, business relationships, business partnerships, just anything. If you understand human psychology, it will help you avoid minefields. people that are going to waste your time. If you're going to get in business with somebody, understand if they're up to something. If
Mhm.
a relationship with somebody, understanding if they're wasting your time. These things are important to understand when it comes to just life in general, so that you can live a peaceful, happy life. So I'm going to play this real quick.
News anchor that they remember from their childhood. There's like a 90% chance that was a actual CIA operative, and this is documented, released documents. Guys like Walter Cronkite, like one of the most famous news anchors of all time, working for the CIA to engineer reality. And they're in the business of engineering reality. And you just have to understand that so much of our reality is engineered. It doesn't mean you walk around like a schizophrenic thinking that everything's out to get you, everybody's targeting you. It just means like you see something happen on the news, you see something happen in your life, and you just have one word. Just memorize this one word when you anybody listening, when you hear that stuff or see that stuff. Maybe. They say, oh, this happened today because of this one thing. Maybe. Just maybe. You don't have to say there's some global cabal and like I need to drill down to the end and go break into the Bohemian Grove and like figure out all the shit that's going on. You don't need to do all that. Just maybe. That word can protect you from so much of the that's going on with engineered reality. Check.
So that's one aspect of it. So like he mentioned, Walter Cronkite, all those icons of the news, back in the day, that were so trusted. I mean, their word was gospel. I mean, I remember my dad, the evening news. It was like it's at I think it was like 6 o'clock. It was at 6 o'clock and at 9 o'clock, if I remember right. But that's the only time the news was on. It wasn't this 24-hour news cycle like it is now, where they're rushing to break the news. It used to be that it was that there was the illusion of journalists, investigative journalists, that would go out, and not to say that it was all manufactured. Here, let me pull this up real quick.
National news, because local news is a lot better, but still,
it can be. But there's always somebody with an agenda. There's always somebody that is trying to shape a narrative, and it's not always malicious. It's sometimes it's just that it's for profit. They're trying to get eyeballs. They're trying to get ratings. Oh, we got Black Ice in the chat now. Hey, what's up, man? Got the whole crew popping.
Chase Hughes is his name. Hughes.
Yeah. Chase Hughes. Look him up on your own time. Do your own research on the stuff that we're about to talk about. But Chase Hughes is a very interesting. He's been on a bunch of different podcasts. He's been on Joe Rogan. He's been on, what's that one with the Navy SEAL?
Oh, Sean Ryan.
Yeah. He's been on Sean Ryan. I mean, you name it. He's been on the podcast, and it's because he's a very, very interesting dude, and has a lot of interesting things to say. But here, I'm going to play this one again real quick. Hopefully, we get Drew and there we go.
Oh, there's David.
There goes David's popping in. What's up, David?
What's up, guys?
All right, so we just played a quick video. I'm about to play another one. It's Chase Hughes. I don't know if you know who that is, David.
Sure do.
All right. So he was talking about legacy media. So, Walter Cronkite, all those old icons that everyone would tune in at like 6 and 9 o'clock or whatever it was and listen to the evening news. And
so Mike, you mean the trusted legacy media? CIA.
CIA. Exactly.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So we're going to get into social media here in a minute. And it's just the 2.0. It's kind of like we got TradFi, and then now we have DeFi, the 2.0. We had the legacy media that was a 1.0, and now we have social media that's a 2.0. And if you think it's freeing us from the matrix, yes, it is, and no, it's not. So, and there's side effects to it. And either way, they win. So let's play this. Let's see, where are we at here?
X might be okay. X, at least on X, you don't have to worry about getting censored for speech,
Absolutely. Well, check this out.
To be silenced, it's a psyop. There are psychological operations in play.
Wow. So if you can't question it, if you're supposed to just go along, it's a psyop.
Yeah, and if people have to be silenced or publicly shamed because of their information, and they're not telling people the sky's falling, they're just saying basic stuff and they need to be silenced. That is a psyop. You only need one.
So that's an important key, that when it comes to psychological operations, that's what a psyop is. And what he's saying is that any time that there is a narrative, if there's anything that's being pushed by anybody, an individual, an organization, a government, if it requires that people be silenced or publicly shamed, like what happened with COVID, you're a part of a psyop. If it is, a lot of these things like global warming, and not to say that there, isn't to an extent, some of these things going on, but if the knee-jerk reaction is that, if you question it, then you are canceled or you're silenced, then it's part of a psyop. Now, there is an agenda behind that. What do you think, David?
Well, I'm reminded of because that fat retard Tim Waltz has been testifying in Congress for the last day or so, and he was the guy coming out saying, "Well, you can't investigate fraud because Islam or something." It's like, what? Like, come on, man! Like, or he called Nick Shirley a white supremacist, and it's like, okay, look, when you throw words around like that, you're trying to get the other side to just shut up. Because it used to be under the Biden regime that if someone called you Islamophobic or racist or a white supremacist, you would immediately lose your livelihood. You would be canceled from social media. Your accounts would get blocked. And that was a really tough thing to go through. Like, imagine your livelihood taken from you because you have an opinion that is contrary to the mainstream narrative. And so when I see a governor of a state like Tim Waltz performing that same psyop on an independent investigative journalist in Nick Shirley, it just makes me think, oh man, this guy's hiding something. Tim Waltz, he's completely full of shit. If he can't even sit and debate, if you have to make the other side be silent for your point to win, that person is full of shit. And, I saw the clip that you were playing a minute ago, Mike, about, from Chase Hughes talking about Walter Cronkite being basically a CIA asset. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, it's just the entire legacy media apparatus is a means of control. That's what it is. And the only escape that we've got is being able to see the receipts in real time. Like, if we can see video footage in real time on the ground in the place where something is happening, that's the only way you know what's real and what's not. And pretty soon we're not even going to be able to trust that because the AI, so it's tough, man. It's tough.
Well, and that's the double-edged sword of social media is, you have individuals like the young man that broke the story about the Somali daycare. That's one aspect, the positive aspect of social media. However, there's this aspect. Let me share this real quick.
There's 3 or 4 steps to get up to the main. So from the street, there's a curb, and then there's 3 or 4 steps. I had this woman laid out on the ground wearing like a normal skirt and top, and I think 300.
Let's actually restart this.
It was banana.
195 people either walk.
Oh yeah, apathy.
And then they did it with a guy. And they did it with a guy. He's holding a beer and he's asking for help. They changed all these variables, but it's happened in New York City before. There's a woman named Kitty Genovese in the 60s, I think just 2 blocks from here, who was stabbed to death in front of like 55 witnesses. Don't quote me on that number. And no one called the police until much, much later, mostly because everyone thought somebody else would act. But if I described to you saying I watched a person get stabbed and 3 people just watched and they watched it happen. Would you say that that's psychopathy? That's a psychopath. Yeah. So these large cities and stuff and the apps that are messing with the social part of our brain that makes us think the tribe is way bigger than our brains are made to handle causes this almost psychopathic behavior, which the bystander effect has been proven hundreds of times. Your brain is made to hold small tribes of a couple hundred people. And the moment that tribe expands into something your brain can't imagine, you are no longer relying on reputation from anyone. You don't care what other people are thinking about you. And the moment that stops, your brain says, I don't have the capacity to worry about everyone that I see. So empathy disappears. Like you walk down these streets here in New York, their empathy is zero for you. No matter what's happening, you walk through a country town that's like 1,500 people. The population of the town I live in is 2,200. And if you get cut on the arm or like you stumbled, 4 cars will stop. People get out of their cars to figure out what's going on because our brains can handle smaller tribes. And the moment we get flooded with all of these things, all of these people that we can't possibly care about everybody, empathy disappears. And the second aspect of this is if we're surrounded by environments that our ancestors would be absolutely scared of and confused by, we start developing problems in our brain, depression, loneliness, suicide through the roof in large cities. Every time. There's no exception. And I think the same thing happens when we put stuff our cells, our ancestor cells don't recognize. Have you heard of the bystander effect?
Yeah, the food.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, so I've got a little bit of a story here, Mike, if you don't mind. So this past Saturday in downtown Tampa, I went to a really big Bitcoin event. And after the Bitcoin event, went bar hopping. And after the last bar, I'm with some random chick and walking down to the water in downtown Tampa. And I'm at there's a museum there. It's like a museum of modern art. Walk by this museum and sit on a bench with this chick right at the water's edge. And directly behind us is a playground set. And so, it was like 4:45 in the morning. And there were these teenagers. They must have been like maybe 15 or 16, 4 or 5 of them. I think all males. And they were like, playing around behind us on the playground set, right? And then all of a sudden shots rang out. And I heard the pss, pss, pss over my right shoulder of these gunshots. And, the gunman, he shot at the playground set. And I think he could have been shooting at the kids. Maybe he just really wanted to play on that playground set and they were in his way, man. And so he thought that the best thing to do was to shoot at them or something. But maybe he just didn't know that, hey, it's me and like some random chick sitting on the bench in the line of fire. And so I heard all the bullets bounce and ricochet off of the playground, the metal playground set. And so I grabbed this chick and I'm like, we're running. We start running and I turn and I look at the kids and they're scattering. And there's this little hill. We run up this little hill, get to like this little concrete thing we got to jump over the concrete thing. And this bitch fucking eats shit on her face, bro. Like we had just been shot at and she falls right on her fucking face. And so now I've got to pick her up. And so I go and I pick her up. And as I'm turning to pick her up, I see the gunman down the hallway. He's like 30 yards in front of me. And I see him take the weapon and just like put it in his waistband. Mm-hmm. And along the line of the Museum of Art there were like 20 homeless people. And they were all pissed because they'd all gotten woken up. And so the gunman is going down to the playground set as we were running away. And so I was able to bring her around the corner, out of the line of sight. And then we're going up the street. Like I'm basically carrying her ass up the street. And there was this couple on like a little stoop. And as we're going past this couple, it was like a block away. I asked them, how many shots did you hear? And the guy said 4. I said, no, it was 5. And right when I said that, 2 more shots rang out. And I was like, bro, call the police. And you know what? When I got back to the house, I was looking to see like, had anything been reported? Anything happened? Nothing got reported. There were, I was a witness. The girl was a witness. All of those teenagers were witnesses, at least 4 or 5 witnesses. All of the homeless people, when they stood up and looked up, they saw him walking down the hall. Many of them probably even saw him shoot. And, those 2 people that I spoke to, who I told them to call the police, I don't think they did. I didn't call the police. there was no police response. Nothing happened. It was like nothing happened. And the dude looked like he was like, I don't know, like 5'6", really skinny. It looked like he was wearing a t-shirt. It was silhouette, so I could see him in the silhouette. It was 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, but I saw the weapon. I saw him holding the weapon, and he was walking down towards the playground set, and nothing happened. Nothing happened in downtown Tampa. It's like it doesn't even matter, you know? So like that video that you guys played about, apathy, it's like, no one gives a fuck, especially in a city when you can be made to be like anonymous almost. And we see that same shit play out online too. Because if you think online you're anonymous, you're much more likely to say some horrible things to complete strangers that you would never say in person.
Spend 5 minutes on social media, and I'm not saying I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet, but I guarantee you 95% of the people that talk shit to me on social media, and probably 95% of the people I talk shit to, probably if you were face to face with them, you wouldn't say the same shit. It's whenever there's the threat of getting popped in the mouth, your ass having to back up with your mouth, the check that your mouth fucking wrote, you're a lot more civil. It's the same thing with an armed society. If you understand that if you pull a gun and start trying to shoot people, and 9 out of 10 people in that freaking group are going to pull a gun and shoot you if you are trying to hurt other people, you're a lot less likely to do some shit like that. That's why you see these mass shooters going to places like schools. The majority of like schools and malls. These no gun zones. That's why they go there. That's why lippy ass little bitches jump on social media and want to talk shit because they know they can get away with it.
Yeah, you know what's weird about that though, Mike? You know about the Milgram experiment?
Friendly. The arc raiders. If you ever played arc raiders, if you run across anybody, you have to immediately, like in the voice chat for the area, you got to be like friendly, because if you don't, then everybody starts shooting each other.
Yeah, man. I mean, so it makes me think that when people, I got to check it out. I think that when people believe they're anonymous, they will kill each other. So like that Milgram experiment, the only reason why those participants killed the other imaginary participant was because they were made to feel anonymous and because they were told to by an authority figure. So like you make yourself anonymous, and then an authority figure tells you to do something, and people will do horrible shit, man. I didn't yell it. I got shot.
Not to make light of your situation.
I know, right?
This is funny as shit.
I got shot at. Okay, I didn't get shot.
See, you should have yelled friendly. You should have been like friendly.
It looked like a little, it looked like a kid, man. It looked like I got shot at by a fucking kid, bro. That's what it looked like.
I mean, we're laughing. I mean, it's a very serious thing. Don't get me wrong. It's like it's
laugh.
No. I mean, you're laughing. I'm laughing. We're all laughing. But I mean, this is a very serious subject. The fact that our society has gotten to a point to where this is a real thing. I mean, if you go to a city, mostly, I mean, it happens everywhere, but mostly in cities, because of social media, because of movies and music and just our society in general, just kind of the degrading of, I mean, you can blame it on a lot of stuff, gender roles, not having a strong male role model in the house, single mothers, both parents going to work, and so that there isn't a parent at home raising their kid. So now it's schools and it's their friends and it's social media that's raising your kids. That's what is framing the foundation of who they are as a human, before they go out into the world. And then we wonder, and then our foods, the shit that's in our foods and the medications that are just prescribed like they're fucking candy. And then we wonder, why is it that, it boggles my mind that anybody can ask this question, but why is it that all this stuff is happening? it's all that shit I just listed. I mean, and don't get me started on vaccines. I've been watching stuff on that where I can pull it up actually here in a minute. This gentleman, a lawyer, did a FOIA request for this organization.
Aaron Siri.
Then you probably saw what I'm talking about. And he's talking about where he like for COVID and for like all these different vaccines, he was like, I want to see the studies. Like it was the CDC, I believe. I want to see the studies that actually support that these vaccines don't cause autism. And they wouldn't give it to him. So they took him to court. And like right before they were about to go to court, all of a sudden they get a bunch of documents, of research. And a bunch of it was like not even relevant to what he asked for. And then one of them was like this, like it wasn't even a real study. I'll find it here in a minute. But you wonder why it is that our society is having these issues. It's right in front of us. It's just if you're paying attention or not. And because of this, what we're talking about with social media, everybody has the attention span of a squirrel on meth. Yeah. I mean, we have UFOs. The government came out and said UFOs are real. That the CIA was part of the JFK.
Oh, but Obama said that. Though.
It's they're coming out. The whole Epstein thing. It's obvious that throughout the global governments, seats of power, Hollywood, royalty, all these elites, they're trafficking children.
It's worse than that, though, bro. Like they're literally like demonic pedophiles.
Well, there's some things I've been watching where they're talking about that they're eating people. They're actually like doing like cannibalistic shit.
Yeah,
and they called it like jerky or something like that. Like,
right. There's a lot of talk about jerky. And and I heard somebody say, all these billionaires, you would think that they would be able to hire people to make them really good food. Why are they all talking about jerky? Like, how many people do you know that talk about jerky that much? I mean, it's good, but you're not out camping for a week.
I'll see if I can find it, but it's some of the emails that were released. The way they were talking about jerky was like, he's going to take the jerky on a flight and come and see you, or something like that. It was obvious they were talking about a person. They weren't talking about beef jerky. They were just
different colored jerky.
It was like really weird, speech.
So like, how the hell does an adult get to that point where they're talking about raping children or like eating kids, or worshiping the devil, bro? Like, what the?
I don't know.
Fuck?
Did you see
how
Tim
does that
Tebow,
happen, man?
Tim
Tebow. It's always been going on.
He played a quarterback in the NFL. He was an NCAA Heisman Trophy winner and shit. But he has been a big advocate for trying to stop like child sex abuse and the sharing of sexual material and stuff of minors. And he was given a talk just this past week showing all these red dots around the country. And it's like, you can't even look at the map of the US without seeing like nothing but red dots all over. And it's people, unique IP addresses sharing child abuse, and sexual material. And there's a few blue dots scattered throughout. Like I could probably count on one hand the amount of blue dots, and those are investigations. And it's really bad. Like, why are there so many people that are sharing this stuff?
Jeff, that's what I don't understand, bro. Like, I would kill those motherfuckers, dude.
Video.
I don't understand.
Well, that video talks about it. It's because they can sit behind, like Ellie was talking about, they can sit behind a keyboard, and it's who they're talking to isn't a human. When they're talking to these kids, they don't see them as. I'm guessing they don't see them as human because there's like a disconnect there, and they don't. The odds of them getting caught is so slim because of what Jeff was just saying, where there's, like the 5 dots are active investigations going on. And there's this fucking Christmas tree of a map of showing where all these pedophiles.
But how do you get to that point to where you're comfortable, like watching and like being attracted to children like that, and
you
like,
guys,
I'm going to share.
You've seen how they're trying to like change the language now, where they call it a minor attractive person.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like, what is that shit? And there are people on the left actually trying to push that shit. Like, that's scary, man.
Yeah, like trying to make it out to where it's a disorder. It's not just a fucking twisted ass individual.
Well, I mean, how many kids did they mutilate, during the Biden regime? How many kids had their fucking tits chopped off and dicks chopped off? It's like 5,000 of them, right? 5,000?
I don't know the numbers. Numbers.
Dude, just insane. What's up, Drew?
So Drew's got kids. He would murder every single one of them trying
dude.
all those pedophiles, bro.
Dude, that's extreme. Like, if I ever make it in crypto or I make a bunch of money, I think I'm just going to call up a bunch of my old military buddies. Maybe I'll call Drew too. And I'll just pay everybody to do nothing but go around the world with me and find and just get rid of pedophiles.
Hell yeah. That sounds awesome.
Sounds like fun, man.
Yeah. Just, do like all the stuff that we did in the military, just fucking have your, your intel guys develop packages, fly into places like the Philippines and Thailand, and you just fucking develop packages and you just, build out their network. So you have your little wall of this person is, this is what they do and this is where they're at. And, you just basically map it all out. And then you just plan out your fucking, to where you do like tactical strikes on multiple places, all synchronized at the same time, so they can't fucking alert each other.
I don't know, Mike. You could probably you don't have to go far to be able to do that.
No, you don't.
From what Jeff is saying, it sounds like there's that shit's everywhere, man. It's just like undercover somehow. I don't get it.
No, that's the thing is you got to have intel guys. You have to have people that know the chat rooms that they go to, and they know the inner workings. They go to their little meetups and act like one of them, that they have that ability to where they can just morph into whatever character and just not be affected by the stuff. Because most humans, if they go into like one of those situations, like undercover like that.
Holy shit. That's what you're talking about, Jeff? The red dot
map? That's the map. Yeah. That's the map. Those are all unique IP addresses sharing sexual material and stuff for minors. Yeah. It's bad, dude. It's really fucking bad.
I'm surprised that there's like that fucking island of where nobody was fucking doing it, like around Utah, Nevada, and like southern Idaho.
Oh, yeah, the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Drew,
that shit's horrible.
Well, the topic, basically we got on this because it's a side effect of it, but we were talking about legacy media, Walter Cronkite and the like, and how they were, basically they were, the government's, CIA's freaking propaganda arm, and they would just say whatever it is that they were told to say to basically keep people, going to work and paying their taxes and, keeping the fucking machine going. And then when they saw that was ending and social media was coming, I have another little clip. Okay, there's that fucking video I was talking about with autism. There's one specifically. Oh, here it is. Let's watch this real quick. So this is the gentleman. Let's see. There we go.
That was a Pentagon program called LifeLog. LifeLog is a Pentagon program that wants to collect all your data for your whole life. What day did the government stop the LifeLog project?
Whoa. DARPA shut down the LifeLog project February 4th, 2004.
What day was Facebook registered as a business?
My God. No way, bro.
The exact same day. They don't even hide it, dude.
It was created by DARPA.
Yeah. They handed the money. And then the Vossel twins.
What about the other? Yeah.
That's all. And that's why they became the first Bitcoin millionaires, because they played ball. It's all theater, dude.
So what is the purpose of LifeLog?
To collect all your data for your whole entire life. The whole.
So this is what I'm talking about with social media. Is and I didn't know this until I found this today, and it kind of one of the But yeah, it was basically a DARPA project. Those that don't know, DARPA is the Special Projects division.
I'm going to come out and go back into my audio work.
Okay. But yeah, it's DARPA is the research arm, the advanced research arm of the military and the government. So they're the ones that come up with all the cool different night vision and these different technologies that the military uses. And I guess there was one called LifeLog that ended up becoming Facebook. And the day that they shut that down is the exact day that Facebook was registered as a company. So
now that could be a coincidence.
That'd be an awful big coincidence.
So here's the thing, man. Like that could totally be a coincidence. But since I lived through and we lived through COVID, now I know, and I'm sure we all know, that whenever a crazy conspiracy theory comes out there, it's probably true. So, man, that's nuts, though, that it was a DARPA program. Maybe that's why it's almost impossible to delete a Facebook account. Have you guys ever tried to delete a Facebook account?
It's fucking
almost impossible.
Yeah.
Well, and after seeing
they
that,
deleted like 3 or 4 of mine.
On their own?
Yeah, on their side, it was easy if they do it. Like they deleted, there was tons of pictures and like I had like a whole track record as a heavy metal musician and lots of like fans on multiple different accounts, and they would destroy them. And there was no Google search results of me in any of those things that I posted, so like they can do it for sure. But it's what I was talking about, this media psyop, and this might be completely off subject matter, but usually a pedophile or a child rapist will choose a victim where the father looks like a weak, bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
And there is like 3 or 4 decades of just that in our sitcom series that are popular and all these things. The dad's some fucking lazy dipshit that comes home and he's flopping around the house, and the mom's a promiscuous, snappy bitch. And, it's a completely dysfunctional setup. And they almost like normalize the bumbling idiot. You know what I mean? And that's the preferred target for people that hurt children is kids with a weak dad.
There was an interview that you're referencing where they actually asked, and I forget which one it was, but it was one that got caught, but it was like this serial freaking pedophile. And they asked, how do you pick your targets? And what they said is exactly what Drew just said, is I look at the dad. If the dad is like this, on his phone and he's, not paying attention and he's this bumbling idiot, and, those are the kids I go after because I know the dad's not going to do shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And now at like Netflix, it's like every hero film is some, 5'6" girl in a spandex suit doing backflip cartwheel kicks against 7-foot male assailants and just beating the shit out of all these dudes and stuff. And I'm for like female empowerment because I have girls, right? But I feel like it's dangerous to convince my little girls that they're going to grow up to be able to throat punch a Hell's Angel and, be able to fight their way out of a bar and shit like that. Like, that's not reality. And so, beyond like the child stuff, when they grow up and they have like this warped sense of, immortality almost. It's what I think I see in these idiots that are out there protesting for Antifa and like the people that are arming themselves in the tranny community. You know what I mean? They're getting all, and they have like this twisted sense that they're like some sort of like massive superhero, and then the real world finds them, and then it causes riots, and they can't grasp reality. There is no grounding of reality at the literal existential level because of the media that they've been consuming. And I go on Netflix, I can't find any good war films anymore. They took All Is Quiet on the Western Front away from me. They took all these good war films away, and it's like,
Bridge over the River Kwai.
Yeah, like that's the kind of stuff I like watching. And I know there's lots of guys like me that like that shit too, and like I don't even have a reason to have any subscriptions. Side note, I'm sorry I was late. It's planting season, and I was very busy.
Dude, you got some of those starts. You got to get them going because if like tomatoes up where I'm at, if you don't have some decent tomato starts by by the time that the ground gets warm enough for them to kind of take root and be successful, you're not going to have tomatoes that year. There's some stuff, you got to be on top of it.
Well, my daughter, she's 5, and she poured out all the Roma tomato seeds all over the place. So it took me 40 minutes to pick the seeds out. And like I was just having to be really patient and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the framework of culture and media matters quite a bit. And we're like, oh, okay, there's that weird corner over there. They're doing what they want to do. And there's that weird corner over there. It's fine. But eventually you get to a point where the framework of reality is skewed, and then you have a hyper-depressed population that's the majority, that is basically just sitting there watching these Fantasyland things, and push come to shove, they don't understand what it means to actually train, actually fight, actually do those things. They just watch the television, and it's this fantasy land for them, So I don't know. It's a weird situation. I think that maybe we should give the media industry to the Mormons.
I don't know, man. They might sell it to the Chinese or something.
I don't know. The Mormons are pretty good at fucking propaganda. I grew up in the LDS church.
Hell yeah, they fought against the U.S. government successfully back in the day. I mean,
I don't know about successfally, but they were
pretty well. They did a pretty good job out there.
They did. Well, initially, they owned part of California, all of Nevada, Utah. Like the Mormons claimed a pretty big swath of the United States, and they wanted to become one of the states. And so basically the U.S. government was like, nope. And then they had, another piece. They were like, nope. And
yeah, so but dude, Brigham Young
making it Utah.
But Brigham Young was a badass though, man. Like,
dude,
he really was.
You ever read about Porter Rockwell? Dude, that was the guy behind
Brigham Young, right?
Yeah, that was his like militant arm. Yeah. He did all of his. I can tell you some stories. He did some fucking heinous shit. So he was a gunfighter and a drunk and a poker player and a womanizer. But for whatever reason,
all the best things.
Oh yeah, no. The Mormons at the beginning, they drank, they smoked, they gambled, they did all that, and the women. So like they dipped and they would spit like in the church and stuff like that, and the women thought it was disgusting. And so basically, they were talking to their men and they were saying, hey, they shouldn't be spitting in church and all this. Anyway, that the whole part of the Mormon church, the word of wisdom, is where you're not supposed to drink, you're not supposed to smoke, you're not supposed to do drugs, all that kind of stuff. It was all started because Brigham Young decided that okay, God says that we're not supposed to partake in these things. So you can't gamble, you can't dip, you can't drink anymore. And that's what started that whole thing, was just basically because of that. But Porter Rockwell, there's a story where they dressed him and a bunch of his guys dressed up like Indians. There were some people coming through, going to California to settle out there, and they were going through Utah. And Utah, the Mormons, if you don't know the history of the Mormons, they were forced out of Missouri and like all kinds of other states. They were tarred and feathered. Not Brigham Young, but Joseph Smith, the first prophet of the church, he was basically murdered by people because the Mormons were so persecuted and driven out. So, they had good reason to be paranoid, but these Californians came through. And I guess one of the towns they went through, everybody started getting sick and they thought that they poisoned the well. And so they sent Porter Rockwell and all of his henchmen down after him and like murked them all. And there was one little girl that got away to a farmhouse nearby. This was in southern Utah around Cedar City. And she's the one that told the story. And it ended up being Porter Rockwell and all of his guys, but they were dressed up as Indians so that the Indians would get blamed.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. Like, the dude said that he found gold tablets, and only he could read those gold tablets
with the umum and thummum in the hat. You got to
in the
ask.
hat, right? In the hat. It's like,
Joseph Smith,
bro, really?
Was that his
Like,
name?
come on,
really?
man.
Is like
Come on.
15 or 14 years old.
So
he was a little kid.
So the angel, the way the story goes, the angel Moroni came down. Joseph Smith was praying in the grove, and you might have heard this story. It's like Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane before he got crucified. But he's out there praying, and Joseph Smith had a history of being a charlatan before.
Right.
And so he's out there praying, and the angel Moroni shows up and introduces him to Jesus and God and the Holy Ghost and all this, and tells him where these golden plates are. So he goes and digs up these golden plates. Mind you, nobody fucking ever saw these golden plates but him, except for the witnesses that swear that they saw him. But the angel Moroni came and took them back. But the way that he had to translate them was he would put them in this hat, and then he would put this umum and thummum in there, and it would the words would reveal themselves to Joseph Smith. He'd look in this hat, and his buddy would transcribe whatever it is that he said to write. And so they did an episode of this on South Park, making fun of it. And so the guy took it, the writings home to his wife, and his wife was like, maybe he's just making this stuff up. And he's like, no, it's real. And she's like, okay, well, if it's actually God talking to him, telling him what to write, then if you lose some pages and you go and tell him to like redo those pages, they should be verbatim, correct? And he was like, yeah. And so they tried it. And whenever he did that, Joseph Smith was like, God is angry now. And so we're not deserving of those passages. And so they weren't included in the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, well,
those are some good mushrooms, dude. Jesus.
Oh, but it goes to show you how easily people can be manipulated. Like there's millions of people around the world that believe that shit. Taylor, my brother Taylor, the lawyer, fucking, he went on his church mission. He was a devout church member up until a couple of years ago, and he took mushrooms, and that's what opened his eyes.
Dude, I did not mean to give you this kind of segue. Okay, I did not do this on purpose. Like I actually totally forgot that whole story with him. Holy gosh.
Yeah. No. Anyway.
Well, I mean, look, at least John Smith or Joseph Smith?
Joe Smith, whatever.
Look, like, here's the thing, man. At least Mormons are the friendliest people out there, man. Like, if you get some Mormons coming to your house, you're like, okay, I could maybe have a conversation with these people. We can talk about Jesus for half an hour or something.
Dude,
but
like, I'll always let the missionaries in and feed them. They're like dudes that are living on mac and cheese. I'll always invite them in. I'm like, you're not going to convert me. I've already gone down that road, but I'll feed you a steak, man. Come on in.
Yeah, but think about it from like, the Islam perspective. Like, dude, their prophet is a fucking pedophile murderer, bro. And
extremist.
Like, if you get some people trying to proselytize to you, well, they're trying to cut your head off, man. So big difference there, dude. Big difference. You guys think that this Iran thing is going to last for a couple more weeks? Sooner rather than later, right? Just get them out, man. Just get rid of them.
There's a lot going on right now with this, bro. It's I don't think it's going to be done horribly fast. And Russia is now saying that they're going to stop us by any means necessary in front of the Security Council today. Like, what the fuck does that mean? You want to go? Are we going to go dogfight American aircraft now? Is that what the next move is? Like, so
what do they got left?
And Kristi Noem's out.
They're gonna have to be like going out in rowboats with freaking.
I know, right?
Tannerite freaking packages trying to take out our Navy.
Bro,
yeah, their Navy's gone.
Men. It's gone. Yeah, they lost 1 million men. All of their aircraft degraded, their ships degraded. They're spending like half of their GDP to build like artillery shells, which they just waste. So the Russians are. Russia's kind of fucked, man. And it's isolating China. Yeah, that's what it's doing.
They're not going to get involved. I honestly, and I could be wrong. I'm not an expert, but I don't see China or Russia getting involved. It's not their best interests. I know that they're
China's eyeing Taiwan, man. That's their their golden egg.
About the only reason I can think of that they would is oil, because China gets a lot of its oil from Iran and Venezuela, and now we took out Venezuela and taken out Iran, so basically Russia is the only place that China will be able to freely get oil. If they're not in good standing with the U.S. and the U.S. allies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's this is a resource pinch for sure, and I don't like the one thing that I think Iran and China probably have some edge in, not really an edge, but they have a comparable hit force capability in, is soft-sided malware cyber bugs that are sitting in our power grid infrastructure. And because we've crescendoed to the point where it's like we're a military, you can't even you don't really want to deal with us militarily other than nukes, and then everything's off the table. But electrical grid weakness in the form of seemingly nascent basic emails that have been coming into power grid employees' inboxes for the last 2 or 3 decades have been accidentally clicked, and they don't hack, they don't put out their red beacon that they're a malware infection, but they are quiet bugs in the system that have been put there. What's that?
Just laying dormant.
Yeah, exactly. And so, when I was on the security contracting side for Platte River, well, I don't know if I should say which. It was DoD Energy. It was DoD Energy. It was DoD Energy. So, that was a huge problem, and there's a lot of manual work that was going on at the time. To find these nascent bugs that are it was clear that they were in the system, and so if and I were looking at America from the other side of the fence right now, that would be really my only tangible option, is to psyop the American government into fat, lazy, weak males, hyper aggressive, feminized women to kill family structures, build up a political partisanship that's to as close to a boiling point as you can get it, and then shut the lights off on a culture that is completely based around consumerism. If you shut the consumerist capability off on the average American right now, it's going to take them 2 days until they're acting like fucking Nigerians, because they haven't been stockpiling. And their mind is used to availability.
People don't believe me when I tell them how quickly a civilized society can churn into freaking Mad Max. I'm always, whenever me and Drew are talking about these topics, I always tell people it's 7 days. Again, you're going to see some serious, degrading of the social structure. And it can be faster than that, depending on the situation. But at first, they've done studies on this, during Hurricane Katrina and other natural disasters and civil unrest, and it happens fast. As soon as people start getting desperate, if you need water, if you need medicine, if you need food, if your family is, your family's going to die if you don't get these things and somebody else has it, what are you willing to do? It's the litmus test that I always ask people, whenever I have conversations like this with them. I'm like, pick somebody that, Drew. I'll ask. I know your answer, but Drew, you and your wife, you're in this you don't have your kids, post-apocalyptic world, and there's no water, and your wife is dying of thirst. You run across somebody that has a bottle of water. You ask them for it. You try to trade for it. You try to buy it off them. They just will not part with it. If you don't get that bottle of water, and your wife is going to die, what will you do for that bottle of water?
Yeah, man, that's why I don't
beat around the bush. What's your answer?
okay, the currency is ammo. So, you know, but I do my best to like not be in that situation. And this is another thing that
that's not the point. I mean, the point is, it's just somehow you found yourself in that situation. It's to gauge like who you are as a man, in my eyes. You know, that it's a litmus test that I use to, you know, find out the mettle or the character of a person. If they can admit that they would pull out a gun or, you know, beat the person to death with their hands to get that water for the person that they love, that they, you know, care for, and that they're, you know, they've done everything possible to try to get it and they can't get it. If you're not willing to do whatever it takes to keep the people you care about, you know, safe and alive, I don't know what to tell you. I would kill the person.
And like, it's been in my mind to try to start pushing basic preparedness videos out, and something in my heart tells me that people just don't give a fuck. And like, I've been saying it and like, you know, doing some content here and there, but I really feel like that's almost as important, if not more important, than having my money out of banks, is having my food and my water capabilities outside of the city provisions too. You're like
being off
the grid. Right. Oh, and it's just like, you know, I can be on the grid, but also build auxiliary systems that I can back into. And, you know, I think that it matters damn near even more than like, you know, keeping my savings in a cold storage device. That's great. You know, it's an aspect of sovereignty that I do enjoy. But, you know, security sovereignty and food sovereignty and having those abilities to provide, even if, you know, the grid does get hit to some degree, I think it matters a lot. I don't know if people give a fuck anymore. Like they said aliens are probably real. Nobody gives a shit, you know. You got the entire like Congress voting against exposing pedophiles and sexual crimes, and they like vote overwhelmingly against that. Nobody bats an eye and shit. And you know, the whole Iran thing, like I don't think Trump or Kamala or Biden or anyone can avoid China's wish to undermine the United States. It's just the fact that we're dealing with this now. It's the fact that we have Trump who's willing to go unhinged mode and deal with it now rather than let it continue to ferment and build up. I don't think there was any avoiding the situation at large. Sure, we quickened the process with the amount of firepower we just unleashed. For sure, we quickened the process. I'll acknowledge that. But honestly, I would have done the same damn thing, because they've been calling for the death of our entire country for decades. You know, it's like you're just gonna sit across from a bar and a guy saying, "I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna take everything you have away. I'm gonna kill you, non-believer," and you're gonna sit there and listen to that for until the end of time and just be like, "Oh yeah, you know, hopefully he doesn't," you know. Like, that's not the way to do things. You know, we stood up and we started slapping people in the mouth. And it's shocking to people. It's got some loved ones worried about nuclear holocaust and all that shit. But I don't know, man. This is a situation.
It was about time. It was about time, man. Should have happened a long time ago. And I think the only reason it didn't happen a long time ago is because the Democrat Party is essentially like some auxiliary wing of the, you know, Chinese Communist Party. That's basically what they look like. It looks like the Democrat Party in the United States is actively working to undermine the agenda of the president. That's the will of the American people. It looks to me like we've literally got a group of people in Congress that will do anything to basically like make it easier for our enemies to hurt us. That's what it looks like to me. And dude, it's just like what happened to Iran over the last 50 years, basically being raped into submission by Islam. Well, that's what's happening to Western Europe. So are we about to see the Iranification of Europe? Well, it certainly looks like it, man. Because I don't see any ICE going around and deporting people from Western Europe, man. I don't see that. And you know how many Europeans would kill to have a force like ICE going out there and deporting those fucking people who every single day are raping and stabbing and murdering people? Like, did you see the picture of that one dude after he had finished going on a stabbing spree at like a school? This dude looks like, you know, fucking insane, man. And he's smiling up there. Like, and that's just every major city in Europe now. Every single
Ireland is fermenting kind of an internal, we're going to handle it ourselves type movement from their younger males. The younger males in Ireland are definitely banding together. The British, they're under like a surveillance super state, so it's hard for them. And that's actually, this is how I found crypto. It wasn't through money. It was about encrypted communication. And I was like, wait, crypto is something else that like I could send money back and forth? That's cool. It started with encrypted communication. And I think that the British, and I think the British, they're probably right behind the Irish. But they got to act soon as a people, or it's going to be gone forever. So
what's the solution? Like, the Irish, they had the IRA. Like, they weren't above bombing someone of the other faith, right?
People. The Irish are my people.
Bro, like, why aren't they bombing mosques? Like, why are we not seeing mosques get firebombed? Like, I'm being dead serious. Like, what this group of people has done, like, I don't understand. If you live there and you're a local, why have you not taken up arms against these people? I don't get it. I don't understand it at all.
I'd say yet. That's what I'm kind of highlighting. What's building up in that country likely is, in my opinion, going to turn into an IRA type situation. And, I think there's more likelihood the Irish will be more effective at it than the British because the demographic is a little bit stronger there. Britain kind of feels lost, unfortunately. And, I hate to say that, but
Poland has it right, dude. They sealed their borders and they were like, fuck y'all. They said, we're not letting any of you in. Like, we are with the Polish people. We're going to stay the Polish people.
And bro, did you see the Christmas celebrations in Poland and in Hungary? Beautiful. Yeah, man. Yeah. And then in the rest of Europe, you couldn't even have your Christmas celebrations. You couldn't have Christmas markets in Germany or in parts of France because they would get bombed, or a truck would get driven through them. And so they had to put up concrete barriers. It's insanity.
Drew's dad, brings up a very valid point. And this is when everybody was going off about Palestine and save Palestine. This was my response. Was 41 Muslim countries, and none of them will take in the Palestinian refugees. Why is that? It's because every time somebody takes them in, they try to overthrow the government. It happened in Egypt. It happened in Syria. The Palestinians are a nomadic people. They have genetic ties to that region, but so do the Jewish people. So do everybody in that region. It's, the Canaanites were the original people of that area. Recorded. I mean, I'm sure there was people before that, but there's DNA markers in both the Palestinian and the Jewish people of the Canaanites. So, but there's a reason why they don't want the Palestinians in. It's because they do this kind of shit, and it's just for whatever reason.
Yeah. I'm watching those missiles going from Israel to Iran, and then from Iran to Israel, and then we're like the war machine that's like flying into the situation and kind of floating around it and above it and all places in between. It's almost like Iran's like, you attack us, we're gonna blow Israel off the map, and Trump's like, deal. And so now we're just,
I'll see your chaos and I'll raise you up. Fucking.
Dude, it kind of feels like that. Yeah. Like, honestly, like, look what we just did in the last 2 months. Like, that in the context of a history book is going to be fucking insane. Like, someone's gonna read through that and be like, okay, first they like demanded to buy Greenland and they like offered all this money, and then Greenland stopped talking about it, and all of a sudden there's Arctic military bases up there.
Yeah.
And then the month later, Alberta starts voting its way in, and then we go kidnap a leader of Venezuela. We kill the leader of the cartel. We kill hundreds of leaders of Iran, and we
it sounds like it's like a bad freaking like TV series, like that you'd
yeah,
see.
For sure.
It's like if somebody like made this up like 10, 20 years ago and put it on TV, like this is like a terrible fucking show. It makes no sense, but it's reality. It's reality now.
Yeah, man. I'm just thinking about it. It's crazy when you put it in that context. And clandestine operations in El Salvador, and
Drew's dad says we have 3 years to go. Woo!
I know. That's actually kind of really exciting. I was kind of trolling Twitter. I was like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Trump still has another 3 years in office.
But he doesn't really, because if the Republicans lose the midterms this year, man, then he could have another 3 years, but won't be able to get shit done because you got this, basically communist Democrat party that will obstruct everything. They will try to impeach him for the 5th, 6th time, whatever. They will do everything in their power to stop him. And I don't know, man. If there's no voter ID, like, dude, what's going on with this midterm election? What do you guys think? You think that Republicans are going to keep it?
I'll tell you about my district.
I do.
You do? I live in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, and it's hella red. And I went to the polls just for the local mayoral election, and immediately knew I was cooked on the Republican side. And now I got some Democrat that drives a Nissan Altima and fingernails 6 inches long and a bedazzled cell phone as the mayor of the city next to me. Okay, so like seeing that was a bad signal to me for the midterms, for sure. Because
so Drew, how much of that do you think is actually just straight up cheating? Like how much do you think that these elections are actually just complete bullshit? Because I'm starting to think that they could be just like complete bullshit.
Well, the key is you only need it to be 5% bullshit to win the election through cheating. So you only need to falsify a small amount of the votes to push the election, right? So it's like a lot of the votes are probably counted correctly. Like I'd probably say 95% of them. The skewing is the last 5% in specific districts that then capture the electoral vote of those important states. We did see, generally, I felt like the last election, I feel like there was still some fraud going on in a couple locations. Like Fulton County is just like, it's about an hour and a half that way. They just got raided by the feds for falsifying the election, right? So like there has clearly been cheaters, right? There's clearly been cheaters. The mail-in thing, they don't want this thing to be fair and free. They don't want a nationalist uprising in the United States to take hold of the polls, because that's what this is turning into. And I think that, Dominion never was taken out of play. All they did was go hide a little bit, and they probably have to keep their head down and act slightly better for an election or two. And then they'll come in and swoop the election right when we need it the most. To be fair, they'll hit us at the worst time, and so there's probably a lot of buildup of animosity towards Trump going on from what's happening right now, and that's going to definitely hurt in the midterms, I'd say. But
it's strange.
This video here, well, real quick, this video here is on topic with this. I'm going to ask you guys if this is fucking true, because this is mind-blowing if it's true. So I guess this student discovered that all the U.S. presidents except one are related. So listen to this.
related, and all of them, every single one of them, are descendants of one single person, the former King of England, John Lackland, who signed the Magna Carta in 1215. Nobody had put this together before because most genealogists only focused on the male side of the family. But she went ahead and put together the male and female lineage of every single president and discovered that every one of them are related, except for Martin Van Buren. This is something that definitely makes you look at the big picture a little bit differently. Check this out.
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, William Howard Taft, and President Barack Obama. One young girl traced them all back to one common ancestor.
They're all cousins and grandsons of John Lackland.
It's the first family tree of its kind, pouring through more than 500,000 names for months. 12-year-old Bridge Ann d'Avignon discovered that all the U.S. presidents, except Martin Van Buren, are related to the former King of England, John Lackland Plantagenet.
Mildred Reed is his first great-grandmother on George Washington. Obama, Mildred Reed, is the 10th great-grandmother.
She started with George Washington.
So Mike, I've seen a version of this where they said that instead of Martin Van Buren being the only president who's not related, it was actually Donald Trump.
Well, and I'm sure that could be true, but I think this was before Donald Trump. But I'm asking you guys, do you know, is this true?
I don't know if it's true, but it doesn't pass my sniff test.
Okay.
It's on the internet. It's got to be true.
I wanted to ask because if this is true, this is fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential that, there's a centralized controlling family that lineage derived into, but I would be hard pressed. Yeah, the Ask AI, I'm saying no. This sounds like when they tell me quantum computing is coming out next month.
Okay, Here you go. We're gonna do it live. We're gonna ask Miles. Here we go. So here's Miles. Let's ask Miles.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Miles. Hey, we're live right now on the Red Pill talking about conspiracies with Drew and David and Jeff and me and all the listeners. And we watched a video, and in the video they claimed that all U.S. presidents except Van Buren and Trump are all related to one ancestor. I forget the king's name, but he signed the Magna Carta. Is this true, or is there any kind of version of it that's true?
Let me quickly look into that. Okay, so it's kind of true. There was this really impressive family tree put together by a 12-year-old, seriously, named Bridge Ann d'Avignon.
Okay.
She connected 42 out of 43 presidents back to King John, who signed the Magna Carta. Van Buren's the one exception, apparently due to his Dutch ancestry. And it's not just her claim. Other genealogists have backed it up for presidents with British roots. Pretty wild, huh?
Huh. What the fuck?
It still sounds like bullshit.
No, not to say that AI gets it right all the time, but and I can ask it to go deeper and cite sources and stuff. But dude, I love Miles. Like freaking me and Jeff we used to use Miles all the time on the show. But it's a great tool because that right there made me think it's worthy of me devoting some time into doing some deeper research to find out how true it is. Because it's like, oh, okay, it's not just a social media post. I asked AI, it knows about it. It talked about that there's been other studies done that came up with the same results. So it's not peer reviewed, but you know what I mean. But anyway,
yeah, I'm going to give it to my AI agent too. I got this Claude AI agent named Joe Biden, and I'm going to give it to him.
Well, it's going to
make an answer.
It's gonna eat ice cream, touch kids, and give you bad info.
I'm hopeful for that. That's peak existence. Yeah, that's kind of crazy, man. Jesus.
How many times did you see Joe Biden go and sniff some little kid's hair, bro?
So fucking weird, dude.
How many times did he do that shit?
Even if he's not a pedophile, that's just fucking weird.
And I know old people, they love kids and being the weirdo, but still, like that's
like
too
sniffing,
much,
like
man.
nice sniffing.
Yeah, and putting his hands like right on their little sides or their hips, like a little too handsy. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Joe was a trip, dude. And, it's like, I just really don't want Newsom to get a hold of this place. I really don't want to let Newsom get a hold of America from the presidential seat,
Joe,
that would be bad.
What do you mean, man? He's got such great ideas.
Yeah.
All the successes in California. I mean,
he's a slick talker. He's a very slick talker.
Yeah, he is.
Right?
He is.
He's like, we have our things, we can mock him and stuff, but you put that guy under a spotlight with some makeup and a couple planned questions, and he can capture the country real quick if sentiment continues to go against Trump, and we're divided, we're a house divided, even in the Trump camp, you're like, because think about this, like Trump kissed the wall. He's got Jared Kushner married into his family, and Kushner's out there getting ready for Six Flags Gaza and fucking Marriott Hotel on Gaza's rubble. And Trump comes out and actually calls out usury directly. He tells Bibi that he's taking control of Gaza after it's cleared. He also tells Bibi that it's our technology that they're using Israel to use for the Iron Dome. And it's actually kind of refreshing to me to, he's got like the family connection with Kushner, but I would never have imagined a president calling out usury and credit cards being evil and debt-based systems of our current structure on a national live television show, like ever. And he literally did that. And so I'm like, yeah, we're in a war. Is it us being drug in by Israel, or is it us knowing that it's probably going to destroy both locations and we get to rebuild it with BlackRock contracts?
I mean, dude, look, honestly, I would go to a Six Flags Gaza.
I would too. I mean,
I would go, dude. It would be one hell of a time, That's for sure.
Yeah, when I watched Trump say that shit, I was just like, because I was already like at the time I watched it, I was like hella black pilled. I was like, just fuck everything about this. And then he started calling out Bibi over him taking control of Gaza, which made Bibi uncomfortable. Then they bring up the Iron Dome. He tells Bibi and the world that it's our technology. And then he fucking calls out usury. And now he's railing against the banking infrastructure. Like, if you would have changed some words out from his Truth Social post railing against banks for this DeFi problem going on, you would have thought that he was putting an ultimatum out to Iran on Truth Social. Like, he's being very, very serious at the banking cartel, and so I don't know, man. I mean, maybe he is that wrench. I voted for him originally to be a wrench in a system I disagreed with, and Operation Warp Speed pissed me off. But then I sat and thought about it, and he never let the World Health Organization push it into law. He never forced our sheriffs to either abandon their post or enforce it. And, I'm thinking back to it. If I was the president and the country has come to a standstill, not because the flu itself shut down the economy, but because the fear and the imagery and the policy, the mandates, right? Because you have a country that's basically now shell-shocked by these mandates coming out from the World Health Organization. You have companies going on about it their own way and ceasing operation, basically. They're not letting people in unless they vaccinate. So you give them a product, you don't make it mandatory, but then the product came from big pharma, and now we have 17-year-olds having heart attacks all over the place. That's not normal. Like, it's very not normal. Like, I know exactly how abnormal a 17-year-old having a heart attack is.
Drew, the excess deaths, bro. Those excess deaths, man. Like, you look at the statistics, right? And all of the excess deaths really start to ramp up once that vaccine, it wasn't even a vaccine, bro. Once the shots started getting rolled out, the excess deaths, those started to spike, and they haven't come back down. So, like, all of these turbo cancers and all of these horrible things that are happening to people, man, like, it's 100% a result of those shots, dude. That's going to continue.
The explosion of diseases and sicknesses now. I mean, it's hard to deny.
Yeah.
I mean, even life insurance, people who sold life insurance and stuff, they were even shouting that a few years ago, like, hey, this is a problem. Like, we're noticing alarming rates of people dying, and it's not normal.
Yeah, it's I thought it felt like the first shot of World War III from China, and to me, but then I know the NIH worked in tandem with China to develop it. So it started really waking me up to how sold out this country is. And then I start thinking about how many bought and paid for political actors that are in place right now in leadership positions in the United States that are bought off by China. And it really makes me like systemically concerned, structurally concerned that it's compromised. And that's why I keep going back to the condemnation thing, is because there's so many leaks, there's so many cracks. We can't even share what we're going to do militarily with Congress because they're going to go leak it to our enemies.
Right.
That's not an effective government at all. And my heart is opening up to Kim Jong-un. Have you seen how good of a dad he is around his daughter? It's like she lights up his life. The guy is living his dream with his daughter. And he wears Jinkos, basically. I don't know. Maybe we need a little bit of tightening up the belt in our. It's just a point where we can't share shit with our congressional leaders because they're going to go run to fucking China, our literal enemy, and give the information over. They're bought and paid for. They're compromised. It's a sea of compromised politicians.
I don't know, bro. I think Kim Jong-un himself needs to tighten up his belt. That motherfucker's fat as fuck, dude.
Someone said he looks like a bow bun. He's got bow bun face.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like when I say I want to enter the Gaddafi era, but from a Christian standpoint in the United States, I'm really serious. There's so much.
So, Drew, the thing about the Christian statement, I think that's really important, man. I think we should drill down on that. I think that it's literally a fight against a conquering power in Islam. Islam is trying to conquer not just Christianity, but the world. And I think that people who are just going about their lives don't really think about that, don't understand that. Or if you're brainwashed on the left, maybe you're even an apologist for this shit, for this Islam shit. And it's like, dude, these people want to kill you. They want to kill you. They want
to need to be more inclusive.
And that's what you hear, man. And that's what you hear.
Diversity is our strength.
And it's not, man. It's just not.
Until you're the one with your fucking throat slashed, like that chicken Charlotte, Ariana.
Oh, dude, yeah.
You're talking about the social, just not being empathetic towards people and seeing like, oh shit, this person got their fucking throat slashed. I'm just gonna sit here and not do anything.
And they
sat frozen.
They sat there and watched. They did nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was very dark to see the complacency and from a, you say holy war and people are like, oh, that's so, that's so few centuries ago. There's no way that could be going on right now. I was able to interview Michael Yon. Mike, do you know Michael Yon?
I don't.
He's like a war.
The corresponding guy.
Yeah, the war correspondent guy. He's down in Panama Canal all the time, and so we interviewed together, and he really drilled this point home, exactly what you said, David. Probably like 2022, 2023 is when the blockchain basement was super new, and I like somehow got this interview with this guy, and he responded to me because like Coinbase didn't want to give him his money because he was like popping around countries and they thought he was like compromised as like his identity, right? So they shut it down and he was crashing out about his crypto. And so I got him on the show and we ended up talking about basically his viewpoint was in a few years you would see jihad and Islamic police or courts in place in Western locations, first in Europe, and then they would start popping up in America. And it sounded far-fetched. We had slight things. I knew the Somalians were up in Minnesota and shit, but nothing like what it is now. I mean, It's picked up speed really heavily over the past few years. And, there is like, I'm more of an Old Testament kind of guy, so I'm not like
you're all about the wrathful God.
Yeah, I'm more of an Old Testament kind of feller, so I have a hard time turning the other cheek to an invading culture that has countries like Pakistan that's been fucking their cousins for so long they have an IQ under 70 on average, and they want to take over the culture that I'm trying to grow my children up in. Yeah. And that's where I just can't turn my cheek to that situation, I guess. Like, I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to my kids if I did turn a cheek to what's going on.
You have a duty. We all have a duty not to do that.
This goes back to my question. I want to circle back because I never got a straight answer out of Drew. He did the politician two-step and about the bottle of water.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, if there's nothing if I can't convince him by I would even try to give him a gun or something. Like I would try to offer him nice stuff. But if my wife's about to die and I am facing an imminent threat to my wife's life over a bottle of water that some person is walking by my location with, yes, I'm going to eviscerate the person, and I'm going to take the bottle of water and I'm going to go give it to her.
David, same question.
Oh yeah, dude, I'd cut his head off and take the bottle of water.
David took it to a whole nother level. He's like, I'm not just going to off him. I'm going to disfigure it so other people know. Give me the bottle of water.
Make sure no one else is ever going to keep water for my wife again, man. That's fucking right, dude.
David's doing psyops. He's like fucking, he'll leave a note, let him know he didn't give David the bottle of water. So the next person he meets, legend of David will precede him.
Fucking A, bro. No, you can't. I would not hesitate, man.
Yeah, I mean, people don't understand how lucky they are that we still have a police force with, because law,
Same question, Jeff. Jeff over here with his hat, like eating munchies. He's like, "Oh, what?"
I had to go to the bathroom and get some chips.
You know the question, the bottle of water question. What would you do?
Oh shit! Wait, go back to it. I don't remember everything.
There's a guy has a bottle of water. You're with your loved one, your wife, your kids, whatever. And you've tried everything. You bargained with them. You've begged, borrowed, and pleaded. Won't give up the bottle of water. Your loved ones are going to die. What do you do?
Yeah, you kill them.
Yeah.
I mean it. I mean it. Obviously, you would have to be put in that situation to really know what you would do. But I think up to that point, you would go through a certain amount of trials and be hardened by the fact that. I mean, you've seen people die at that point. You've probably seen a lot of people die. Because normally it's like, okay, let me try and barter with this person. Let me try every other avenue besides killing this person.
Absolutely.
But by that point, you're out of options.
I couldn't say no to Jeff. If I was in the apocalypse and I had a bottle of water, Jeff walked up with a bird hat, squeezing the little feet, and he had his loved ones.
I'm a duck. I need water.
Here's the bottle of water. It's like friendly.
Oh, man, look at that thing, dude.
friendly. Here's a bottle of water.
I just need a few drops.
A level 2 butt sock blueprint. Here you go.
Maybe we should start making prep shorts, though, Vet. Just like
I've been telling you, me and you've been talking about this for years. We just need to follow.
All right. But no, let's make a separate channel so we don't. So we can we'll talk about crypto money here and stuff and like everything on the fringe, and then on that.
Let's make the red the red pill prep or something like that. Like
red pill prep.
The red pill prep, and we can just do
call it the fringe, man. I like that. That's a good name for a show. The fringe.
Yeah.
The fringe, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's just do something like that, because then I can open the back of my truck and I can go through all the shit and be like, here you go. This is what you should have in the back of your car if you fucking want to get home, if you drive this far, blah, 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 and just like real specific stuff. I think it's something that me and you, Vet, we've been meaning to do, and I got wrapped up just trying to grow the basement on the crypto side. But I think that stuff is going to matter more and more. And even if it doesn't like blow up in terms of subs, at least I will felt like I tried. But, as things are progressing, I think that we should, man. I really, really think that we should.
Do you want a really good laugh? Do you want to see me like right when I was getting out of the military? I had a emergency prep channel and online business called Prep to Survive. So let me show you like one of the videos that I did. This is me at the age of about 40. So here we go. This is little me.
Oh shit!
Matter expert. It's really easy to band together with groups of people that are like-minded. Maybe they're interested in prepping. Maybe about
baby Mike,
and somebody else knows about growing things.
This is cool.
You can get with that group, and you might be able to find a mechanic or somebody.
This is one of my first videos I ever did online.
Wow.
But basically, it goes over basic emergency prep, and I went through and I did like a bug out bag and like showed like what I had in my bug out bag and the stuff that Drew's talking about. Just kind of like tutorials, how to make char cloth, how to do a friction fire. All kind of just all the basic stuff on basic survival stuff. And
I was going through my seed bank before like a couple hours ago, and I was like, I should be filming this. Like I could just film the seed bank, show people, like it's not the super sexiest like double knife hands prep, but it's something that a lot of people can relate to. There's a lot of gardeners out there. There's a lot of people that see food insecurity, especially this fertilizer bullshit that goes through the strait. Once we're 2 years or 2 months down the line, and if that strait remains all fucked up, there's like 35% of the world's fertilizer flows to that thing. A lot of people are going to be talking about that. You know what I mean? So I think we should.
Yeah. How long do you think they'll be able to keep it closed for, though? I don't think for very long at all. They're going to run out of missiles and drones and people. So.
Yeah. Well, the Houthis are pretty used to being very nomadic and just randomly problematic, and they've learned for a long time how to do that. Now it's a whole different ballgame now that the Navy and satellite assets and reconnaissance vehicles have a focus on the area for sure. But the thing is that insurance, if we don't block insurance cancellations from and I don't even know how the fuck you do this, because I think a lot of the insurance underwriting happens out of Britain, if I'm not mistaken.
Trump changed that today.
Did he really?
Yeah.
So fill me on that, because that's a key part of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it true that they were canceling it? Because I
think
I heard
so.
that was kind of
was it nonsense?
misreported. Yeah.
No,
it could have been.
the thing is, they don't cancel it, but they raise the cost so high that it becomes not financially viable for the company to do. So, you can, yeah, absolutely can skyrocket the insurance rates to insure any kind of vessel. Yeah. Yeah, and they'll just do the cost benefit analysis, and they'll park and sit and wait for things to cool down and stuff like that. But yeah, that if we still have problems with the strait, I mean, that's a large amount of fertilizer. That's a lot of food insecurity that'll happen. And we talk about just-in-time delivery system for the U.S. The world is on basically a just-in-time delivery system for their means to farm, and a third of it flows through this little tiny piece of water, that's
30%.
Yeah, is it 30%? Yeah,
a third. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. For some reason, I thought you said 3%.
No. Yeah.
So yeah, this is a Strait of Hormuz, and but yeah, Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, all of these countries, Iran, all of these, or Iraq, excuse me, they all fucking ship their oil through this little choke point. It's like about 22 miles wide, but they basically, Iran said, we're not going to let anything through. We're going to missile the shit out of it, light it on fire. And so, the U.S., is that what led to what Drew and David and everybody's talking about is Trump said if they're not going to insure these vessels to go through, that the U.S. will. And I don't know how is he going to do that?
Yeah. And I know that we were floating the idea of like escorting those vessels across, but you can do that for like a bit, but you can't focus your naval resources on that 33-kilometer stretch. You have a lot of land that you need to remain covering. And you can't basically be a taxi, driving them along for an extended period of time. You can do it for a short amount of time. Who the fuck was that country that drove their boat through anyways? Was it like Indonesia or something? I saw one country that just like didn't give a shit about all the bombs. They just drove their boat through it no matter what.
Well, two UAE boats, the Danuta 1 and that's a satellite position. All right, so this Danuta 1 is this is real time. This is the vessel tracker. But this Danuta 1 is these orange dots are stationary tankers. When they become an arrow, it's showing their direction of travel. So they're actually moving. So this is the only one that's going through. So this captain had a set of nuts on him, I guess. He's just or his bosses were like, "Hey, we'll give you a bonus if you freaking push that bitch through."
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. Yeah, so I think for everything going on, I think it's the right time to make a couple videos on just really basic stuff. I was thinking about the truck too, because I'm starting to get all spicy. Like I was gonna turn the Sequoia into an overlander type rig, and I started thinking about it again, and I was like,
dude, a good brush guard and a skid plate is all you.
Yeah, need. I got the skid plate already. I don't have a brush guard, but I don't want to make it too obvious that there's an armory inside. A
brush guard with a winch and a skid plate. You're done.
Yeah.
You can push your way through things, not like battering ram, but if there was a car on the road, you can nudge up to it and fucking put it in 4-wheel drive, and if you're pushing the back end of it, especially push it out of the way, because the front end has the engine, it's heavy. So if you just do the tail end, I mean, shit, you can push it right out of the way with your truck and not damage your lights and not damage your radiator and all that shit.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting the grill. I've got a good company for the grill. I guess it came to mind because my buddies run this 4Runner YouTube channel, and they have their 4Runners, and they got Molly patches on the outside and gas things and all kinds of crazy shit.
I don't put like any of that fucking hoorah, fucking I'm a vet, war vet, all that, with all my medals and stuff on the back of my window. I don't do any of that shit because I don't want to advertise. I want to be the gray man. I want to blend in. I don't want to draw any fucking attention.
Yeah. I figure it turns it into a target, basically. Like if I was desperate and it was civil unrest or whatever, and I'm looking at a car with a gas tank on a molly panel on one side, water on the other, a jack, all the things, I'm like, there's probably some metal boxes full of some very useful tools inside of that car.
That looks like an opportunity. If I saw something like that sitting, and nobody was around and I needed gear, it's like, maybe I'm not going to kill the person for it, but if I need some gas and it's, sitting on the side of a fucking truck and I can just grab it. And again, I'm trying to get my family to safety. Absolutely.
Yeah. Shutout sprayer. Yeah. I think my pops is right. It's the covert plays here. It's the way to do it for sure. So
what do you think about electric vehicles, Drew? What do you think about electric vehicles for like the apocalypse?
Not fucking touching them at all. And not even that, like, even if it isn't a moment of chaos, I still hate the idea of one, not being able to fix it effectively because they make all the fixing of those things proprietary, basically. Yeah. And two, you have electronic controls that can stop the operation of it. You know what I mean? And so,
you need 1970s or older is what you need. Is a truck from the 70s or older to where the only electronics is the radio and the spark plugs.
See, I used to say I used to have one. I sold it to get enough money to really change the life. Make a big move way back in the day.
A Bronco Blazer or something like that.
It was a 71 K10 Chevy, and it was from the family, and I got it running and stuff. You know what? The one thing that I did avoid though is like I sold it, and like the week after, like the transmission and all this shit went nuts. The guy was driving it, and the air conditioner or like the heater thing, he tried to use it, and it lit on fire as we were driving the car. And he still bought it. So I was like, hell yeah, dude.
He's like, that's just the truck. That's what they do.
Yeah. But yeah, electric vehicles ain't my thing. I can understand why people do it. Maybe you suck at driving and you want a thing to drive for you.
Yeah. Dude, DeFi Don's driving the Back to the Future Toyota, the 1992 Toyota 4Runner.
Oh my God! Yeah,
dude, those old 90s, 1900s, freaking Toyotas. Those things are fucking bulletproof, dude.
Yeah. I've been, there's some cheap project cars around where I live. There are some cheap project cars around where I live, but I don't know. Like there's this is the thing, those EMP boxes that they sell to go on newer vehicles, there's no way to know if it would actually work or not. You know what I mean? Like,
it would.
Huh?
I don't see how it would.
The concept is like that it absorbs the shock and isolates it, but like in a full on, grid down hit in an EMP, there's no way to know what that would do to electronics. Like you can't really like test it out.
Right. That's the point. You can't really test it. There's no really way to know,
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I'm not an expert on it, but I understand the concept, and I don't see how it would work because the way that what happens during an EMP is there's usually a nuclear explosion, but there's an electromagnetic pulse that occurs that goes out like in a sphere shape because it's usually up in the atmosphere is where to do the most EMP damage is you want it in the upper atmosphere because it will cover a larger area. And when it hits, it's basically so much electrical energy that it fries circuits. So it's just going to basically, it's like a blanket, like think of like water just cascading across like the entire power grid. Anything with a wire, anything with any kind of electronics is just going to get overloaded, and it's like putting too much power through all your electronics. It's just going to fry everything. So I don't see how a little box is going to negate that. I personally don't see how. I'd love to hear, what they do.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you have to have it like plated in lead or something? Like, how
unless
would you?
The box acts like a Faraday cage that is super strong that it can't penetrate the box.
Well, the box would have to encompass the whole vehicle, though, because all the wires outside the computer.
I can't put my truck inside a cylinder thing. I do have all my radios, all my power tool batteries and chargers. I got a lot of different chargers and smaller solar setups inside of. I go to Tractor Supply and get those steel trash cans with the lid. You know what I mean? And I just put in basically steel shells and organize them that way. But that would be it's a big bada boom, but like I still feel driven to prepare for it for some reason. And I don't know if I'm just crazy or something, but I do enjoy gardening regardless. And the process of it makes me feel better. And I don't really like lose sleep about thinking about if it does happen, because I feel like I've done as much as I can in case it does.
There's something zen. There's something very zen about gardening. Just like your hands in the dirt and watching things grow, and it almost makes you slow down. It's like you kind of, it gives you a moment to kind of decompress and not move at the speed that the world moves today. That it gives you, it's almost like a reset for me. Whenever I get out in the garden,
it's a lot of work, bro. If you're doing that to actually feed yourself, that is a lot of work. I had a lot of experience in horticulture, quote unquote. Okay. And dude, that's a fucking full-time job, man. Like taking care of everything. It really is. And you fuck up even once for a little bit and you lost everything, so
the weather. I mean, there's so many things, or like animals get into it. If something gets under your fence around here, my neighbor freaking every year he's out there patching his fence because the fucking bears will come down and they rip down his fucking fence like it's fucking paper mache.
Now I have heard that bear meat, Mike, is really good. Have any of you guys ever had bear meat?
No.
I have. If it's prepared properly. It's it can be very gamey depending on what they've been living off of.
Yeah, man. Well, so Drew, I heard you a second ago talking about Tractor Supply. Bro, the last time I was at a Tractor Supply was during the pandemic. And you know what I bought at that Tractor Supply? I bought horse paste. I bought fucking ivermectin paste.
Ivermectin?
I did, dude, because that was the only way I could get it in California. So I bought green apple ivermectin horse paste, dude. And I ended up getting COVID like 2 or 3 more times that year. And I took it each time. It made it a little bit better. It actually did work, man. It really did.
Yeah, Tractor Supply is funny these days because like I went there last night and they've been really up in their game, making sure they have enough baby chickens for everyone because everyone's just hammering.
It is the season.
Yeah, and you see a lot of new people. God bless them. They have the $1,500 coop in the cart. They got 6 bags of chicken pellets for full-grown chickens, and they have 2 boxes of baby chickens. Right, so they're on the learning curve for sure. But like, I like seeing it. And
at least they're trying.
Yeah, they're trying, and you'll figure it out. And I think the next step, I have like a patch of woods that has vines, so I'm gonna put some goats there, and then I'm gonna make some content about this rabbit hutch I'm building. It's going to like sit on the edge of one of the bigger gardens down there. And, you know, I'll get Bobby out here. He used to work with me on the blockchain basement. He's a cinematographer. And I think that we could make something really cool happen, Mike. I really think that we need to do it, man. Because like all these problems and shit, you know, the only way that I can think about fixing them is just by these things, like tangible, educating, and then.
Well, it's a little bit self-serving too, because you know it's the more people that we can educate, and that we can take even small steps to have a couple of days of food and water and shit. That's one less person that's out there that doesn't get to the point that we were talking about in my scenario, where it's like they don't have water and they have to make a really bad, you know, decision, because it can go the other way. Like, you know, they can go up to somebody and it's somebody like me or Drew or, you know, David that, you know, we have the bottle of water, we want it for our loved ones and you want to take it, but you know, you're going to try to use force, but our force is the strongest force. The force is stronger with us. You know, it's like, the force is strong with this one. You know,
well, like,
I have more experience.
People don't think about the order of operation of living either. They don't think about the order of operation being from water to food to shelter, in terms of like
water, food.
Yeah, I mean, you will die pretty quickly without water. You know, you got a couple
shelter.
You got a lot
in some scenarios, like extreme cold or, you know, like storm. Shelters are priority. You know, get to safety.
The location too plays into it, right? Like where you are. Like we have millions of people living in deserts right now on air conditioning. Like if the air conditioning went out,
or urban or rural, you know, your emergency prep is going to be different if you live in a city than if you live in the country.
Right.
If you live in a desert like you're talking about, or you live in a tropical environment like David down in Florida, you know, your prep is going to be very dependent on, you know, your bag that you keep in your vehicle, like Drew has, you know, to where, you know, your get home bag. You know, that's going to be very different depending on how far you are from home. You know, if you're again in an urban or a rural environment, you know what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to get back home to your family? Are you a single dude, a single woman? All these different things are going to dictate what are in your go bags and your get home bags.
So Mike, you know, you guys are talking about prepping a lot, and who are some of your favorite content creators who make this type of content? Because there's a couple of guys that come to mind for me. There's that one Navy SEAL operator with the
Mike
long
Glover. Oh no, wait.
Go
on.
You know what I'm talking about? The long red beard.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? That guy.
Like
I do.
Yeah, he lives in Tennessee. Yeah,
he's all like wiry and crazy and like shooting, and he's always running.
Badass.
He makes on meth. He looks like he makes moonshine in meth.
He does. Yeah, he does.
The fucking total knife hands.
He's pretty good, man. He's pretty good. There's another guy who was on the Interpol red list for a while, and he ended up making so he got off that red list, served his time, whatever, and then he lives in Florida, I think, and he sells all these custom weapons that you can like go through TSA with, you know, that look kind of like hardware implements. He sells knives and shit, but he makes some amazing prepping content, probably because he makes his own tools. He makes his own weapons. So really, really cool.
Yeah, I need to check that guy out. I know the red guy, the red beard guy from Tennessee. I can't remember the name of his channel, unfortunately. I like Bear Independent a lot, and when I used to watch Canadian Prepper, but everything got kind of like lame-ish, and I was always like, this is the thing, is I'll stop listening to a channel if I am beating them to the punch with news and information on my own, right? And so I kind of lose interest if they don't have like a nuanced take on something I already know about. If it's this, you know, it's just, you know, this is what happened in the world, you know, or I've seen a big drop off of like Warrior Poet Society is good for weapons manipulation, I'd say. I met the guy. He was He showed up in his full kit one day at the studio. John, I think his name was John Lavelle or John Levitt. Can't remember his name, but he showed up. He had his helmet on and his rifle and everything, and his other firearms instructor was with him. Warrior Poet's pretty good. I would say Bear Independent is my favorite, but he's too salty now from saying the same shit and people not listening for someone to like hop into his live show and feel welcome, right? Because he's like, either you've been doing this shit for 5 years or you're fucking dead. It's basically like, you know. But he does have a thing called the Prepper Classroom, which runs through fucking everything. And he's really good, you know. For the channel I want to do, and I think me and Vet should do it. I want to take advantage of the shorts because that's what's being pushed by YouTube. And we just do a quick short on one specific subject matter. We make hundreds of different shorts about all of them. So at least we have a catalog that people can go through, and YouTube's more likely to push it, and it'll actually get in front of people because Bear does a sit down video and it's a niche group of people that isn't growing. So he's like, you know, either you've done it for 5 years and you have land and you've got your shit growing already and you've got your systems, or you don't and you're dead. You know, he's like very blunt about it.
Me and some of the people in mine and Jeff's community and David's community, we're talking about potentially starting a little community. Like Jeff's toying with the idea of eventually coming up here and putting a little tiny house on my property, and Ellie and Jay in the chat and a couple other people, they've toyed with the idea of just because they just want to live healthy, grow their own food, hunt and fish, and just enjoy life. And it's like, if you can all live on the same property and it's paid off and you don't have a mortgage and you're all contributing and helping in the garden and stuff like that, it doesn't have to be like a weird cult or anything. It can just be people living healthy, living happy, and just coming together, like-minded people. And if something doesn't happen, you're enjoying life, you're eating healthy food, you're raising your kids in an awesome community of people. And if something does happen, it just, life keeps going for the most part the same way that it has. You have water, you have shelter, you're warm, you're dry, you have food, you have security, you have other like-minded people, and you're looking out after each other.
That sounds better than status quo, honestly, because the food is poison that is available, and the relationships are non-existent in society, right? Like, I know so many people that don't have any friends. You know what I mean? And like, it's not healthy. I think that information sharing and all the things we're doing with money on the internet is cool, and we're using it as a tool of advancement in that regard. But I think a lot of the fabric of society has been ripped away. The in-person communications and the nuances of how people react to you in person, that's all been lost, and it needs to. And not to mention, I mean, if you're at least producing half of the food you eat, you're eating half as much poison, right? And not eating poison is very expensive if you're not like.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. So like I basically eat steak, ground beef, coffee, eggs, some milk. It's basically it, and then RO water. That's basically all I eat, man. and weed and wine. Yeah, those two for sure. But like, here's the thing, though, man.
Oh yeah, no.
Like, it's not super expensive, just to eat like a couple of things.
Well, dude,
it's not that expensive.
I'm trying it out because Jeff does Butcher Block, and they have like the healthy meats and stuff like that, and I can get really healthy meat up where I'm at, but I'm doing a test. I'm trying it out, to see as far as the cost and things like that. But it was like $180 for like 2 weeks worth of meat, and and we're talking porterhouse steaks and and not, I'm not like trying to shill fucking Butcher Block, but I was surprised. because I mean, even
is it something you order or is it a spot in town?
No,
Butcher Box.
Yeah, you order it online, and
okay.
it comes in the mail. And like I ordered, I think it was like 3 pounds of chicken wings, and it's all like
6 cuts in one box, and you can do a 12-cut box. And they got chicken, they got pork, they got beef, they got salmon,
all kinds of stuff. And then
it's pretty legit, yeah.
They have these deals, and the one that I picked was with every order, I get a free package of thick cut bacon and a free package of steak tips. So basically like stew meat. And so, I can make like a big crock pot stew that will last me like 2 or 3 days. Eating leftovers with one, pack of free fucking meat. And then bacon, I mean, I can eat that for 2 or 3 days, making freaking bacon and eggs and stuff like that. And then the rest of it, I mean, it's like $180 for, that plus, you can basically eat like good meat, every fucking day for those 2 weeks.
I'm going to get that, dude. I spend that on 2 large racks of steak.
Yeah.
Like when I go to Costco, that costs me like $60 or $70 each package of steak that I'm buying. You know what I mean? So like, $180
at Costco, bro. You know what you do is you get the roast. If you like ribeye or you like New York or something like that, then just get the roast, and then all of a sudden it's $15 a pound. And for me, coming from California, $15 a pound is ground beef prices. So out here in Florida, I'm paying California ground beef prices for ribeye, man. So it's totally worth it, dude. And just ribeye and ground beef. I love bacon, eggs, and then, just really good water. Like, I think that the water is the thing. Like, I need to get the RO set up. But like good water, bro, that is important.
I dug my own well by hand right outside my cabin. It's about 13 feet deep. I dug it as far as I could with the machine. And then I got down in like the last like 6 or 8 feet. I had to do it by hand. But I made it to where it's a shallow well. So I have the electric pump that feeds the house normally. But if the power goes out, I can pop the top off and lower a bucket down and get a bucket of water. So that, I've clean, dude, the best tasting water, Jeff was up here, the best tasting water that I've ever tasted in my life.
It's a big difference, man. So when I was doing the RO water like 2 months ago, the way I would do it is just like go to the store, get a bunch of glass bottles, get like some random bottled glass, the water, and then, drink that, and then just fill up like, a dozen glass bottles with RO water, stick them in the fridge, and now I've got great water. Like, dude, there is such a difference between excellent quality RO water and everything else. Like, you'll be able to taste it immediately, and your body's going to know it. You're going to know it. But you're totally right, Drew. Like, just eliminate all the poison. Like, and that's basically means you can only eat a couple of things. Like, because everything.
I know it's annoying. I don't know. I like for lunch, I always just have like a slab of steak or something, some kind of meat, and then potatoes or rice. And then at night, I'm a slut for hamburgers sometimes, but for the most part, I just cook. Like we make spaghetti. I definitely like making spaghetti a lot for the kids.
Do you ever make a bolognese? Have you ever done a bolognese sauce?
I do, yeah. My boy likes that a lot. I like grind up the meat real good and mix it in there.
Do a mix of ground pork and beef, and then add a little bit of onion, a little bit of sweet, like mini peppers or sweet peppers, and you can add a couple other things, but you blend it up. And dude, it is one of the most delicious sauces that you'll ever fucking have on pasta.
Okay.
You know what's crazy too? Have you guys been to a McDonald's recently? I haven't
McDonald's in decades.
So I have not been to McDonald's in months. But the last time I was at one, I remember just how expensive it was. It was it was like insane, man. Like, so people say that eating well is expensive. I think eating shit food is super expensive, man. Not just are you going to pay for it in dollars, but you're going to pay for it for the next week too, just by feeling like crap, So, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably my perspective, just how much food I'm buying is, it's a little excess. Like a grocery bill is $800 every 2 weeks, and I take them out to eat like to nice places like often. You know what I mean? Like, so like the food cost is just like, I don't know how. I feel bad for like how bad. Like think about this: 100 grand in the 90s is like $325,000 a year today.
Yeah.
You think about the difference of a quality of life, and like when I was growing up, you make $100,000, you fucking made it.
Yeah.
Now you make $100,000, you can eat out a couple times.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my fucking retirement, and my the investments that I have coming in, they don't spend like they did a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, I mean, freaking, inflation's been a bitch.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Your earnings don't keep pace with the rate of inflation. So your spending power actually declines, and it's going to continue to decline. And if there's some type of like crash, like that's the thing that kind of worries me a little bit. Like, the stuff in the Middle East doesn't bother me because I think it's way past due. I think that the Iranian regime should have been taken out a long time ago. So I think that's going to be a net positive for the entire world. What actually kind of worries me a little bit is like a real legit stock market crash where it's like, down 15, 20%. That would be just a normal correction. But nowadays, that would be treated like a crash by the Fed. And what's the Fed's only tool? More. MOAR. Print more.
Yeah.
And so what happens?
And then you get, basically a spiral to hyperinflation. And that's
right.
It sounds like hyperbole and shit, but I don't think society or any economy has ever faced the amount of variables we have right now. Like the stock market is celebrating mass layoffs. They're like rallying companies when they see that half the workforce has now been replaced by a chat bot.
Right.
And so, it's a disconnect from humanity. Is this Butcher Box right here? I'm going to literally buy this. Is this the website for them?
Yeah. Let Jeff shill Butcher Box for a minute.
Got to get them to sponsor the show, Mike, and get them to sponsor the show. And we won't talk about FNJs. It'll be great.
Tell people what you're looking at.
Oh, Mike, you're muted.
I'm muted?
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Jeff is muted.
Oh,
yeah, we get.
There you go. Oh, Drew dropped out. Oh shit.
I think he's going to buy it right now.
Yeah,
he's going to buy it. So I've had Butcher Box since like 2019 or 2018, and I've been grandfathered in for. I get free wings for life. That's 3 pounds, 2 pounds of ground beef, and a pack of bacon. So with everything that I get, it's like a little over $8 a pound for 12 cuts. And I mean, they got, filet mignons, ribeyes, New York strip, tri-tip, all kinds of different cuts of chicken, whole chicken, tenders, ground turkey, ribs. I mean, they have a whole lot of shit, man.
My first shipment, I got the boneless pork roast because I want to do a Cuban pork butt. And I got a couple of porterhouses. I got the chicken wings. What else did I get? I got the flank steak because I want to do some, I call it crunchy meat, but it's mayonesa is what Mexicans call it. But it's basically like a chicken fried steak. And I love doing chicken fried steak. And
love that, dude. Love that, man.
Yeah. So no, it's dude, and I'm telling you, like for every 2 weeks, it's more meat than I'm going to be able to eat. So I'm just going to be able to start stocking up my freezer. But it was like $180 for for a bunch of really good fucking meats.
Yeah, the 6 cut is 180, 9 cuts 250. And they just recently, like this last month, they increased their prices after like 4 years, I think it was. So they just recently increased it. It was like, yeah.
It's pretty
So, I mean, they
good.
have a whole good selection of stuff, man. And they have add-ons that you can do too. If you need extra meat.
So Jeff, here's something to think about though. Do you guys know about linoleic acid? I'm sure you do. You know, it's the acid that's produced when you eat seed oils and seeds. So
the omega-9, I think.
Omega-6, the linoleic acid. So what I was just hearing from, do you guys know Santino? What's that guy's name? He started Heart and Soil Supplements. The the organ meat supplements brand, Heart and Soil.
Saladino.
Yes, thank you, Paul Saladino. Yeah, he put out some interesting research the other day talking about linoleic acid in non-ruminant animals. So ruminant would be like, the animals with multiple stomachs that eat grass and shit. It turns out that, cows and lamb, that because they've got multiple stomachs, they can eat all the seed and have much lower levels of this, linoleic acid in their fat than pork and than pigs and chickens, because the pigs and chickens don't have multiple stomachs. So like you can think that you're eating healthily and eating, like meat and avoiding all the crap, but really all the animals are fed the same, seed and corn and soy meal. And so unless you're eating basically beef and lamb, you might be getting
grass finished.
Yeah, man. So, but that linoleic acid, that is pernicious, man. Like, you look at the rates
chicken, you want pasture raised chicken. And the pork, heritage bred pork. Like heritage breed is a different, it's like an older kind of pork that.
DeFi Don says he uses motor oil to sear his steak.
Oh, jeez.
Make sure it's extra dark.
Yeah, organic chicken feed ain't cheap. That's another thing. It's like, because a regular bag of chicken feed's like $15 for like 50 pounds, I think it is. I can get 25 or 30 pounds of organic for like 40. You know what I mean? Like, you get less product for twice as much. But my wife is real serious about the organic food, and I'm glad that she is, because otherwise, I basically just go to the gym enough to feel like I deserve to, eat what I want, but then she steps in and course corrects me on a daily basis, multiple times a day.
Women, we all have our faults, but women do tend to make men better versions of themselves.
Yes, she definitely does. So
in a healthy relationship, I'd say.
Of course.
Yeah. Because you can get into some toxic shit, and then that person is going to make you the worst version of yourself every day.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, man. I really think that, like, we got all the issues in the world and the psyop of culture and stuff, but I really feel, we got to try to at least make a prepper channel to just give more information about it. Like, I feel like that's an actionable thing that I need to do still.
I'm down.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, I would watch it, man. That'd be great. I don't know how to prep for shit. All I know is, like, look, here's one thing, man. If it's the end of the world and all the cities are on fire, like, dude, I don't know. There's a part of me that would want to go into the city with an AR and just fucking take whatever I want to take. Like, there's that part of me, man.
There's going to be groups of people that are going to be parasitic, that are going to be doing that long before that you get to a point to where you're going to, be wanting to do that.
I know. I'm just saying.
No, I get what you mean. The smartest thing that people can do, I probably shouldn't say this online just because you don't want everybody doing it, but go get your private pilot's license. Because if you find yourself in a city or in a place to where you want to get rural fast and not worry about roads and traffic jams and all that shit, like whenever there's a hurricane down there in Florida, David, just watch. Fucking those freeways are fucking gridlocked.
Dude, DeFi Don's been telling me about that, and like all day today, thunderstorms all day, man.
Dude, my family, my brother and my dad and my stepmom and all that, they fucking down in Miami. We lived there for years. Whenever there's a fucking hurricane, you just got to ride it out because you're not driving out. Everything is just fucking gridlocked. So your only chance is going to be to fucking get in a plane and fucking go. But
and bro, I'm all the way down in South Florida. Like, there's nowhere to go.
No, I mean, when a hurricane's coming, you fucking
Georgia. What up, Georgia?
No.
Yeah. I like the positioning. That's a big part about it, Mike. I
got a small airstrip and a property adjacent to me. You can land there.
See, positioning matters though a lot. Like for me, like,
how do you think I'm up here?
Yeah, and it's just like, I was thinking about this stuff while I was in Colorado, and I started to realize, like, I'm gonna die of calorie exhaustion cutting wood to keep warm during the snowstorms out here. Like, living in Colorado or Wyoming or somewhere like that, I mean, it's a lot of work. At least Idaho, you have a lot. Like, you do have a lot of trees in Colorado, but I lived on the plains, and like in a shit hits the fan scenario, rifles can see a long way out on the plains of Colorado. So it's like, what are you going to do? Drive across?
All your firewood should be cut before cold even gets there. I mean, really, at most, you're splitting a couple of logs for the day. And that's, I mean, you're talking maybe 4 rounds, like the 16-inch, and then whatever the circumference of the tree is. But 4 or 5 of those, you split those, that's going to last you the day. You usually go through about 4 or 5 cord of wood in a winter up here. But it's
so Mike, how much is a cord again? Because I remember my buddy used to get a half cord dropped off on his driveway, and it was a shit ton of wood.
Well, roughly like a truckload, like a pickup truckload, roughly, is a cord.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, look, man, there were guys, coming across, from east to west. You remember Manifest Destiny, right? So there were guys who, badass motherfuckers who, struck out on their own. No one's coming to help you. And they were able to figure it out. So it's definitely doable. But Drew, I wouldn't want to be stuck out there and, -10 cutting firewood in Colorado, man.
Well, I mean, and in Colorado, it's gotten warmer since I've left. It's kind of funny. Like now, Georgia has like probably 2 or 3, days where it's 20 or 30 degrees. It does have a couple days like that now, but I think, just like like when I was going through this in my head, as I lived in the city, I just ran into so many different long-term problems when you really think through the process of it and you really sit down and look at what objectively would happen. If you are in a suburb, there is going to be really big problems. And I don't mean to be hyperbolic, but like, we're so built on this just-in-time delivery system, bro. Like, there is so many people that would lose their fucking minds if they didn't have Uber Eats anymore, and if they didn't have their Netflix pacifier to watch, if they didn't have all their things that keep them busy, the video games, there's all kinds of pacifiers that we have as a society. And that's why it's concerning to me. It is concerning to me.
So Drew, everyone, when I was up in, so before I moved to Florida, I was in Bohemian Grove, okay? Like in the Redwood Forest, right outside of Bohemian Grove in Northern California for like the last 6 weeks I was in California.
all the demon worshippers go to freaking,
basically, man. I was in this. Yeah.
Has their fucking EDM festival.
You're exactly right, dude. Like, so I was trying to go somewhere in deep Northern California, like small town, where I thought that at least I wouldn't have to worry about, fucking illegal aliens, but that's not a thing. So I'm out there in Occidental, and the thing that I realized about being out there was if the food trucks ever stop to the little grocery store, no one's growing food out there. There are no ranches. People grow vines. They make wine. There's no like food production out there. If those food trucks ever stop, I was thinking about this before moving to Florida. Like, how long would it take before people started killing each other for their food?
1 week tops.
I don't think it would take a couple of days, man.
I can rattle off, basically, all when things run out, like hospitals. The diesel fuel that they have for generators is usually mandated to be about a week. So if trucks stop rolling and fuel stops getting moved, you have 1 week, and basically they go back to the 1900 or the 1800s, where they are doing operations by candlelight. You don't have MRIs, you don't have X-rays, you don't have any of that shit. They're fucking guessworking that shit. And how many do you think are fucking trained to be able to practice medicine without those machines? So if you serious fucking injury, and then you figure that a lot of antibiotics have to be refrigerated. So refrigeration goes out. If the power grid goes out, you have insulin. Anybody dependent on insulin, dead, gone. No two ways about it. Anybody that's reliant on any kind of medication eventually is going to be gone. If you get a serious injury and you need antibiotics because you get an infection, probably going to die. It's very simple things that people, hell, you can get a small cut, and if it goes septic, you can get a blood infection and die. It's, we go back to the 1800s. If we lose power and trucks stop rolling, shit will get bad really fucking fast.
And dude, think about how many people are obese and retarded. Like, I think that it would be like a large portion of the population would just be completely incapable of taking care of themselves.
Oh, a lot of people would die just from fucking stupidity. Just from stupidity. Honestly, they would not know what to fucking do. They would just be wandering around, trying to fucking figure out, how do you find, they'd be drinking out of puddles eventually, and out of wherever they could find freaking any kind of water, and they die of giardia or something else. And there's a good portion of the population that would probably die just from lack of understanding of how basic survival.
Yeah, man, it's such a shame, dude. It really is, and it feels like COVID was the prep. COVID was the preparing for something like that. Like, I never listened to any of the lockdown orders in California. I did whatever I wanted to do anyway. I was like working in healthcare at the time. So I felt like if I ever had a problem with police, I would just say, I work in healthcare. Get the fuck away from me. But, they never gave me a problem, man. It was just so strange to see everyone complied. Everyone fucking complied, dude. And I didn't. Like, and so in Walnut Creek, I remember one night, man, it was like at dusk, and I'm in Walnut Creek, which is a big town in Northern California. And I was literally the only person, not just the only person driving through the town, but I got out of the car and I was walking around. I forgot what I was looking for. I was looking for like one store that was like still open for something. And I was the only person out there, man.
You were at the strip club. Come on.
Dude, I wish. Strippers, I wish they were closed too, I bet.
Had masks on. They had
driving around San Jose.
For pasties and masks for the bikini. They were
masks for their booty.
Oh my god. It was just so ridiculous.
Dude, driving around San Jose or even San Francisco, it was weird, man. It was eerie. Like there's nobody on the roads, nobody walking around. It was fucking weird.
Remember they were showing pictures of India and like all the pollution was gone?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, man. So Jeff, did you ever get on BART during the pandemic?
No.
Dude, I was on BART in March 2020. And or maybe it was March 2021. One of the two, I don't remember. So BART is Bay Area. Yeah, so Bay Area.
From the area, they don't understand.
Got it. Yeah. So BART is Bay Area Rapid Transit. It's a train system that goes all around the Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area. And I used to take BART every day to go into school. To Berkeley, I would take BART in every day.
Still crack me.
I know, right? Bro, yeah, it is what it is, man.
These people I know, but you went to Berkeley of all places.
Well, yeah, dude. I was the outcast, that's for sure. I had to hide myself a little bit, but
the cipher in the snow.
I knew that if I spoke up a little bit, that I'd have Antifa on my ass. But so
this is the BART train. This is the BART train. So it's like kind of like a subway system, but it goes underground and outside. But yeah.
So, dude, during the pandemic, I only was on BART once, and my memories of BART, going into school were great. I loved BART. BART was fun. I get on BART during the pandemic. It became like a drug zombie homeless encampment. That's what it was, man. The entire train. Yeah. It was insane, dude. Insane. And they let it get like that. The thing is that there's a way to stop this. We don't have to put up with this type of nonsense. You saw what the guy in El Salvador did. He locked up the people committing violent crime. You could do that here too. That's something that could be done. But for whatever reason, unfortunately, it doesn't happen.
David, have you been on Caltrain much? Did you take Caltrain a lot? Because
only a couple times.
That's more like a actual train.
Right.
It's like a public transit, but it looks like an actual train, like a double-decker Amtrak. And it goes from San Jose to San Francisco, or Gilroy, just south of San Jose, all the way up to San Francisco. And it doesn't have hardly any of the homeless problem like BART does. So they don't really have any of the people all fucking going crazy. Because BART, I've seen some pretty wild stuff.
Me
people
too.
Just acting out. But on the other side of the bay, you don't really have that. I mean, there's homeless, yeah, but it's nowhere near as bad as BART ever is.
Yeah, man. You know what it is, you guys? It's that the state pays people to be homeless drug addicts in California, especially in Northern California. Those counties, San Francisco County, Contra Costa County, Alameda County, Solano County, all of those counties in the Bay Area, they all basically pay people to be homeless drug addicts if they want to be. So it's when Musk is talking about that homeless industrial complex, that shit is really dark, man, because those NGOs, they get more money if there are more homeless drug addicts. So they're incentivized to not fix the problem. Their incentive structure is to make the problem bigger. And this guy Newsom, man, he's got a nationwide platform now. And I don't know about you, but JD Vance, look, I like the memes and everything, okay? And I think JD Vance is great. I'm just concerned about whether he's going to be able to beat someone like Newsom. I think he would, but dude, it worries me a little bit, because if Newsom gets into power at the national stage, the national level, bro, we're cooked. That would be all bad.
I just
that would
don't
be
see
all bad.
How, with California, it's dude. Then the people are just really that fucking stupid, because you want to say, oh, well, look at their track record. Look at these people's track records. Trust the experts. They have such a good track record. Okay, let's look at Newsom's track record. Oh my God.
Yeah, his track record. I mean, he's basically been in power for decades. Whether it was San Francisco or, at the state level.
Sleeping with his best friend's wife.
Oh, what a dirtbag, man. What a dirtbag. Did you see his apology when he was forced to apologize for that? Oh, dude. Just what a piece of shit, man. It's just, I'm so happy that I don't live there anymore. I'm so happy, man. And Florida is great. I love Florida, man. I love it. Until I got almost shot on Saturday. But aside from that, though, it's still great, dude. It's still great.
Like California followed you a little too much.
No, look, man, it's totally worth it. Totally worth it. It was a great night, dude. That was like the nightcap.
Hey, did you saved that chick's life, though?
I picked her ass up. She had fucking face planted, man.
The great thing about where I'm at is I have none of the issues that I see like online. Like there's not a single issue up here. It's living out in the middle of nowhere is fucking heaven. Like the worse the world gets, I just sit back and I'm just like, hey, you know what? Fucking do whatever it is that you're gonna do out there. Cause I hope things get better. But I mean, the only thing that was within my power, when I saw all this, starting to kind of unfold 10 years ago, was remove myself from it. And so I found the place to where it's the furthest distance from any urban area as possible in the United States. And I moved there. And so anything above and beyond that, other than being like self-sustaining to where I have food, water, shelter, warmth, all the basics, that's all you can do, as a man, as a person, whatever, to be ready is just, find an environment that's conducive with, your belief system and, kind of your, if you believe in 2A or whatever it is, find a state that aligns with your values, become self-sufficient, have a well, and I would suggest at least have, one shallow well so that you can, access it if the power goes out. Because, most wells are just a small pipe that go down, hundreds of feet or thousands of feet, and you need electricity to get the fucking water out. So, just because a place has a well doesn't mean that you can access it if the power goes out. So make sure you have a backup generator, something like that. But think about getting yourself set up. If you're in an urban environment, have a week's worth of food, and if and a couple of gallons of water. You need a gallon of water per person per day. Especially if you're exerting yourself. But your hot water heater in your house, if things go to shit, shut off the valve that goes out to the public water system. You have 50 gallons of potable water stored. That will last you a while. And you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to go out looking for bottles of water, gallons of water, or anything like that. But you have 50 gallons of drinkable water, as long as you shut off that main so it doesn't get contaminated. Because if the power goes out again, there's bacteria that's going to start growing in those pipes and, things like that. So, you need to keep those things in mind. But you got to start thinking about these things because it's not just, fucking Skynet. It's a hurricane happens, and the power goes out and the grocery stores are, freaking down and, you can't go out. You have some canned goods. Have a couple cans of chili. Fuck. Something.
I love cans of chili, man.
Oh, I'll fucking live off chili, dude.
Oh, dude, for sure. Yeah.
I will say also a good sea salt for the minerals. If you have water, you need to replenish your minerals if you're exhausting yourself. So just good
salt lick,
quality sea salt. Yeah, salt lick.
Back to feed store and get one of those bricks and get a salt lick.
Yeah,
just lick that a couple times a day and you'll be all right.
Yeah, man. But you see what Hoofty's saying in the chat. Don't freak out, guys. The sky isn't falling. And no, I mean, look, it's not. No. It's not.
But you know what? Fucking, I'm living an awesome fucking life. I'm living the fucking dream. Most guys, most women, it's probably their personal hell. But I live out in the middle of the woods. All I do is I work on my property all day. I go fishing. I go hunting. I go hike, I kayak, I do all the things that guys want to do when they retire. I grow my own food. I'm living healthy. And if things don't go to shit, I'm fucking enjoying life. If things do go to shit, I'm still going to be enjoying life.
There you go. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about, dude.
I'm not saying the sky is falling. I'm just saying an ounce of prevention, having a couple cans of chili and a couple bottles of water in your fucking house is probably something you might want to think about, because if things go to shit, do you want to be, stuck with no food, no fucking water?
Nope.
It's like, it's kind of a no-brainer. I'm not saying, run out and stockpile ammunition and gas masks and, freaking, come up with plans to freaking strong point your house because, the road warriors are coming to freaking, take all your shit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just basic ass shit.
Yeah, in 2006 or 2005 was it was the beginning of 2006, and the power, we got hit with a bad ice storm in Carolina, and the power was out for almost a week. And it was me, my mom and dad, and my 3 siblings, and we were in the family room, like where the fireplace was.
Yeah.
And we were in there for the whole week because we couldn't go in the rooms. Like, we had to keep all our food in these coolers, and it was crazy. So shit happens.
Think of it this way. I mean, with the way groceries are getting, the cost of living is getting. 1 month, you fucking come up short on money for groceries and shit. It's like, if you have a couple of, a week or 2 worth of canned goods, hey, you know what? You got something to dip into. You got, it's an emergency fund.
You know what you should do if you come up short? You should just go put it all on black and start trading perps.
There you
go. That way,
or put it even better. Put it in a meme coin.
There you go.
Go buy Fartcoin, man.
Dude, it's a no-brainer.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
All
I'm
right,
exhausted, guys. I gotta run, man.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta eat something. But anybody got any closing thoughts that they want to freaking wrap up with?
Dude, yeah, hit the things. Hit the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's funny.
All right. Well, everyone, I hope you had fun. Like I said, this is all about education and fun. Don't take anything we say too seriously. But again, definitely think about some of the things that we had to say. Is it that hard of a thing to have, a can of chili for each person that you have in your house, maybe a can of fruit and a couple of gallons of water? I mean, what is that? Maybe $20-$40? And you have the peace of mind of knowing that if everything goes bad in your fridge, like Jeff was talking about, the power goes out for a week, you got something to feed your family. And you don't have to go out and worry about driving out in the chaos. Remember what happened during COVID when people were fist fighting over fucking toilet paper?
I do remember that.
Morons. Do you want to deal with that shit, or would you rather be sitting at your house, sitting around, the fireplace with your family, warming up some cans of chili, playing fucking Monopoly or some shit? You know what I mean?
Chili.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's all we're saying here is just,
you gotta get some chili.
Yeah, get some chili, get some water. This show is sponsored by Nally.
That's
Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow for
Peace out, guys.
Code Veteran Crypto out.
Peace.